Hey, good morning, my friends. How are you? Welcome once again to another edition of Behind the Mic with me, Mike Avery. So it's actually Mike behind the mic on a Wednesday morning. And in my part of the world, it's actually pretty warm. It's like 42 degrees out right now. Not going to stay that way, of course, because it's the middle of February. But I will take 42 degrees for a while, right? Good morning, John. How are you? Hey, that was a nice walleye you got, especially for an inland lake walleye. Congrats on that. Very, very cool. Looks like you guys had a really nice event. What county was that? Is that Isabella County that lake is in? I'm not familiar with that lake. Cliff, good morning. Greg, always a pleasure, my friend. How are you? Mad Jack checking in from YouTube. Brad, good morning. Jim checking in from Gladwin. Jim, nice to have you along with us on this edition of Behind the Mic. I'm here to record this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. And I will, Johnny Buller says, hey, Mike, what day is it? Mike, what day is it? It's hump day. The guys over in the studio can hear me. The other studio can hear me when I do that. Bruce, good morning. Roger, good morning. Brian, good morning. Bernie. I was a step ahead of you, Cliff. Jerry, Ryan, Brent. Brent, are you and Tracy going to the dinner? Trinity's Wild Game Dinner. Daryl, how are things in White River? Daryl, I enjoyed that conversation we had about wolf hunting last week. You did a great job, by the way. Appreciate it. Good morning, Lori. At school, catch you tonight. Have a great day. You as well, my friend. Jen, good morning. How are things at your beautiful piece of heaven up north? Bob checking in from Marysville. Clare County, it's west of Farwell. Kevin, good morning. Bill Hoffman, what's worse, hump day yell or the buzzer? I will leave that up to you, Bill. Hey, Tim's here as well. Dave, good morning. Dave, for some reason, and I don't know what made me think about this, I was thinking about your dad the other day. I was thinking about my early days at TV5 when I used to work with your dad when he was, well, obviously he's a police officer. As you know, my dad was a cop as well. Ed, good morning. Nice to have you along with us. My name is Mike Avery. This is Behind the Mic, so it's Mike Behind the Mic. I have not been out on the ice yet. I'm hoping here, if not this week, probably won't happen this week, maybe next week to get on the ice of the Saginaw River. I'm going to take my buddy, Nick Grillo, up on his offer to get out there. Jen says, it's so peaceful. Eaton Rapids, Ed, good morning. Hit Hubbard Lake last night for smelt, struck out, but caught my first Cisco. Oh, cool. It was nice to be on. Excellent. Coming back from, I can't see, I see Brent saying, yes, coming back from, I can't see the rest of it, but you're going to be there. Excellent. I will. And you know what, Brent, I'm really looking forward to having you join us in Ohio next year with the whole group instead of coming down by yourself and shooting a big buck and you didn't share the experience with us. Coming back from Grand Rapids, watching a friend, Iowa Wild playing some hockey. Iowa Wild playing some hockey. So I hope to get on the ice. They're catching a whole bunch of small fish down in the river. It's amazing how many fish are in there. But this time of year, pretty soon, you're going to get started. Some of those big females coming up river to start their spawning run. Wouldn't miss it. Excellent, Brent. Appreciate that. Heather, good morning. How are you? Heather, for some reason, I thought you were a Youper, but now I'm thinking you're over in Berry County. Which is it? Help me out. Are you a Youper or a West Side Michigan person? The walleye on Saginaw Bay right now are crazy. In fact, the walleye people are catching across the state. We have a world-class walleye fishery in this state. We are so blessed with our walleye fishery. What else is going on? Wolves. Shall we talk a little bit about wolves? I'm going to talk a little bit about wolves on the radio show this week. As you know, they were put basically back on the endangered species list, or they soon will be. Three names I want you to remember: Defenders of Wildlife, Wild Earth Guardians, and the Natural Resources Defense Council. Those are, you're in Berry County. Thank you. Those are three groups that you need to keep an eye on. They're very, very dangerous. Let me give you another name that, in my opinion, and I may be stepping out of bounds here, And if so, I will get put back in my place very quickly. But let me give you another name that I think we need to watch out for. It's Dana Nessel, the Attorney General of the state of Michigan. You might remember she filed an amicus brief in this whole thing. And then before the fact, let me read you a tweet that she posted last week. If you haven't seen this yet, this is from our State Attorney General, Dana Nessel. Michigan is proud to be home to approximately 700 gray wolves. These magnificent animals serve important roles in our Great Lakes ecosystem, and they show us that dedication to family is not unique to humans. I refused to stand idly by when the federal government tried to use the Great Lakes Wolf Recovery success story to remove needed Endangered Species Act protections for gray wolves. The court ruled rightfully in favor of nationwide wolf recovery, and I applaud this development. So this is our state attorney general who is so ill-informed and possibly ignorant and maybe out in left field. Remember, she is the one that you saw slumped over in the stadium, drunk on her rear end at the MSU U of M game. Apparently, she watched too many Walt Disney movies when she was a kid, and she's buying into the process of an anthropomorphizing. Anthropomorphizing is the process of putting human traits on wild animals. Again, she says, and shows us that dedication to family is not unique to humans. I say, Madam Attorney General, that maybe you should worry about other things. Maybe you should worry about crime. Maybe you should worry about cybersecurity. Maybe you should worry about people messing with kids. But maybe you shouldn't get so involved in an idea, a concept, a topic that you obviously know nothing about. Good morning, Mike Streeter. How are you? And listen, I'm not one of those guys who say shoot, shovel, and shut up. I'm not one of those people who say we need to wipe out all the wolves in Michigan. I think it's cool that we have some wolves. I really do. But wouldn't it be nice if the people of the UP could manage the wolf population along with the DNR and the NRC without interference from a federal judge in California, without interference from the Wild Earth Guardians, the Natural Resources Defense Council, and Defenders of Wildlife, and without interference from our state attorney general? Remember, and this is, I'm stealing a line here, and you're sick of hearing it, but elections have consequences. So we elected her and a certain boss of hers, and if you don't like what they're doing, just keep in mind when it's time to reelect them that maybe you want to do something else. Good morning, Sam. How are you? Ray Burbay, always a pleasure. Scott, no more skunk sightings. Johnny, hey, Johnny, I hope you don't mind. I just had a guy get in touch with me through Facebook, and he wanted your number because he wants to go on a bear hunt. I did pass your number along. I hope you don't mind. Brian said he saw a skunk out back last week. Would like to fish the Saginaw River while through the ice, but need advice on what tackle to use. I'm not your guy. Did you say go ahead, Pat? Okay. Oh, you smelled one? Did you? You haven't seen one dead in the road, though, have you? Okay, well, that's it. I haven't fished the Saginaw River in a long time, Jim, but I will tell you this. Small jig and wraps, jigs, and spoons tipped with minnows seem to be the ticket. Just look for the crowds. I mean, there's thousands of anglers on that water. Daryl says, next time we talk, I have a good piece for you about wolves and Lake Superior. I will look forward to that. What else? Our Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner is coming right along. The online auction is up and running now. If you go to this website, one.bidpal.net, one.bidpal.net, you can get involved in that online auction. I also Last week on my Wednesday Night Live, I posted a QR code, and I will do that again this afternoon before tonight's Wednesday Night Live. A QR code that you can just scan with your phone that will take you right to that auction site. Upland Bird Hunt from Lori and Brian Stroick. Rec Broadhead's Charter Captain's class from Great Lakes Charter Training, $1,000 class. Detroit River Walleye Fishing with Captain Mark Pananzek this spring. A whitetail shoulder mount from Scott Keatsman of Linwood Taxidermy. And a VersaSkins jacket and a blaze orange outer skin as well. Those are just a few of the items. one.bidpal.net, or scan the QR code that I will be posting here on the Facebook page this afternoon. Let me see some of the questions here. Tim says, I've been saying it should be the UP's decision based on science, not social science. Jack says, good morning. I agree with you. Appreciate that, Jack. Johnny says, all good. Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate it. Roger saw his first skunk this weekend as well. What happened to Proposal G? No way politics belong mixing with sound scientific management. And here's, Jason, the thing that's really frustrating me lately is the inclusion of social science into the formula of sound scientific wildlife management. And in fact, I've talked with the folks at, specifically MUCC about this and said, what is this? How did this become involved? They said, yeah, there's no doubt about it that social science is now considered as part of the equation in wildlife management these days. Jim saw a skunk on the side of the road in Gladwin yesterday. Steve, good morning. Hey, Steve, you look pretty nice there Sunday morning. Suit and tie, jacket, you looked good, my friend. And again, thank you for stepping up for everything you're doing at Trinity. Steve, are you going to be able to make the dinner, the Wild Game dinner on the 5th? Got some great prizes. one.bidpal.net, one.bidpal.net. Let me try something else here. This might or might not work. Let me see. Let me see if I can find something and just show you on my phone, and you might be able to go back and grab it. And again, I'll post this later. I get so many texts from Lisa because we talk about so many different things. No, I don't have it, but I will post a QR code that you can actually just scan. No, I don't have it, and take us right there. Steve says they'll be there. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Jeff, good morning. How are you? Marty, always a pleasure. Nice to have you along with us. Marty says we need to put more wolves in the lower. So Marty, obviously your statement there makes me believe that you believe that there are wolves in the northern lower. One of my favorite wolf stories, and I was told this to my face from a guy with a straight face, and he had not been drinking. In fact, he told it to me. No, I'm confusing stories here, but he told it to me with a straight face, and he wasn't drinking. He said they were fishing a lake in northern Michigan, a small inland lake in northern Michigan, when, listen to this, several black helicopters, okay, that should be your first thing, ding, 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 several black helicopters swooped in, game wardens got out of the choppers and kicked everybody off the lake who was fishing, and then released wolves, and then they flew away. If you believe that, I don't know what to tell you. I've got property to sell you somewhere. You need to seek counseling or whatever. If you believe, and the guy, honestly, the guy was so convinced it was true. He says, Mike, I'm telling you, I saw it with my own eyes. I don't believe it. Black helicopters swooped out of the sky. Game wardens jumped out, kicked everybody off the lake, and then they released wolves. Wow. And they let people like that breed and vote. That's the scary part. Speaking of voting, don't forget our friend Dana Nessel, our illustrious state attorney general. The last time you saw a picture of Dana Nessel may have been when she was drunk on her rear end at an MSU U of M football game and then made light of it. She is the one who says, and this is her post on Twitter, You're going to love this if you weren't here a minute ago. This is from State Attorney General Dana Nessel. Michigan is proud to be home to approximately 700 gray wolves. These magnificent animals serve important roles in our Great Lakes ecosystem. And here's the part you should pay attention to. And they show us that dedication to family is not unique to humans. Our state attorney general is so far out of touch with the natural world that she is anthropomorphizing wolves and she's putting human traits on wolves. Again, I'm not one of those who says let's wipe out the wolf population. But I think we got enough we're fighting against with Defenders of Wildlife, Wild Earth Guardians, Natural Resource Defense Council, liberal judges in California, without having to fight our own attorney general over this whole topic as well. Just remember when it's time to go to the polls. If you don't like the way things are going, do something about it. John says people saw Bigfoot and Loch Ness and they believed it. Good point, John. Good point, John. How have you been, by the way? John Callison, you and Johnny should meet. Johnny Bullish should meet each other. Both good people. John says, give her a break. Maybe she was drunk. Maybe she was. Maybe she was. Maybe she was. And listen, I got nothing against drinking a few beers or drinking a little Maker's Mark in your Crystal Light. I'm not holding that against her. I'm holding her ignorance against her. Her ignorance. Five minutes. Things have just gotten completely out of hand. The world is just crazy. Outdoorama's coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend. Are you heading on down? This is what, the 43rd or the 48th year? Of course, they had to take last year off, if I remember right, because of COVID. But it's nice that these events are getting back in place in person. We had to take a year off, or did we take 2 years off for our Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction? We're back in full force. Sherry checking in from Poseyville. Hi, Sherry. How are you? Captain Todd says, I don't understand, with all the hunters and anglers, why we can't get a good vote that would be a better management of our outdoors. Raber Bay's coming in with a comment, too. I can't see that yet. It'll come up here in just a second. Go to one.bidpal.net. Raber Bay says, Governor Whitmer and Nessel have turned their back on the UP. I hope all UP residents remember that. It could be argued that it's not just turning their back on the UP, but maybe the entire state. Tim says, are you ready for 0 to 12 inches of snow tonight? Is that what they're calling for, Tim? 0 to 12. We could get nothing, or we might get a major blizzard. Roger reminds me, Shiver on the River time. Also, will you be there? I hope to get down to the river here sometime in the next week or so, but I will not be taking part in the Shiver on the River. I don't know why. I probably should. I just won't be. I mean, that Shiver on the River has been going on for what, 20 years now? John says, what about Remington paying $73 million settlement on Sandy Hook? As much as I feel for the families, how is Remington liable? It scares me, the ramifications. A lot of things in this world scare me right now. John says he saw they're calling for rain this afternoon. Paul says, send that picture of Jody with the coyotes from the predator hunt. I think you must be talking to somebody in a private conversation there, Paul. Bill says he saw a pack of 4 or 5 wolves along the Seney stretch 2 weeks ago. Well, we know there are wolves in the Seney area. Don't we, Johnny? Johnny Bowler. By the way, and this only pertains to people who are going to be at their live at the Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner. Johnny Bowler has donated a bear or deer hunt in the UP. Captain Paul Schlafly of Riverside and Manistee has given away a Lake Michigan salmon and fishing trip. Captain Jeff Godey of the Michigan Experience is giving away a Saginaw Bay walleye fishing trip. We've got a couple of real nice guns we're going to live auction off. I'm giving away Saginaw Bay walleye fishing trip. And then Saginaw River cruise as well. Jim Felgenauer, you were hiding there in the background, weren't you, buddy? Jim says, and this is a very good point, Jim, I appreciate this. On a positive note, lots of eagles along the St. Clair River. In fact, I am 90 seconds. Boy, that 5 minutes went by fast. Thank you, Jim. I've been seeing eagles along the Tittabawassee like crazy, and the Saginaw. It used to be if you saw an eagle, it was a big deal. Now we see so many eagles, I point them out to my grandkids, and they go, "Yeah, there's an eagle." I'm like, "It's an eagle. That's a big deal." We see them all the time, Grandpa. No big deal. All right, I'm going to have to let you go here in just a second. I will keep this live feed going, but I won't be able to interact with you to the extent that I have been. But I will be back tonight at 7 o'clock for another edition of Wednesday Night Live, where we can talk more about this. We can, Jeremy B says, "Hi, Mike. Saginaw River's on fire right now." I know. I want to get down there. Lost Glove Farms checking in. Good morning from the farm, Lost Glove. Good morning. How are you? So anyway, when we start the recording of the radio show, this will be my main focus, this microphone here. So I won't be able to answer your questions. In fact, I won't even be looking at your questions. So if you pose a question and I don't respond, it's not because I'm being rude. It's because I got to go to work. But join me tonight, 7 o'clock, for another edition of Wednesday Night Live, when we can shoot the breeze a little bit more and we can get back to some more interaction. And we won't be up against the clock because we'll be stopping to do a radio show like we are right now. My email address, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. That's mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. One blast off. And my guy did text back. He'll be with us, Pat. So, okay. All right, my friends, have a great day. Time now for Michigan's #1. Really? That's interesting, Tim. I mean, they're all over the place, aren't they? I mean, they're all over the place. And I love it. Every time I see an eagle, and it's to the point where you'll be driving down the road and you'll see one swoop down in front of you. I think they're majestic, beautiful. They give me goosebumps every time I see an eagle. And we see them all over the place. Roger's heading to work himself. Have a good day, Roger. All right, my friends, tonight, 7 o'clock, another edition of Wednesday Night Live. Hope you can join me then. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine show right here on the Outdoor Magazine Radio Network. More than 30 AM and FM stations across the great state of Michigan. We are here for 3 hours every week talking about the great outdoors, the history and tradition of the outdoor lifestyle here, primarily in the great state of Michigan. Hunting and fishing and shooting and trapping, those and conservation issues and wildlife management issues and wild game cooking. And those are kind of the areas I concentrate on. There are a lot of wonderful outdoor recreational activities like hiking and bird watching and boating and sailing that I don't spend a lot of time talking about. Why is that? Well, I don't think there's anybody who is trying to take away your right to bird watch. I haven't seen the Fund for Animals come out and say that we think bird watching is bad and we're going to try to ban it. No. But what about hunting and fishing and shooting and trapping? Oh, baby, those are absolutely under attack. No doubt about that. As I'm here in the studio right now, it's a nice break in the weather. It's in the low 40s. Now, that could and probably will change by the time you hear this show. But isn't it nice to know that we're starting to turn the corner? And again, my friends in the UP, I hear from you all the time. You say, Avery, quit talking about spring. We're a long time from spring. I get that. But I feel like I'm just this close to seeing that first dead skunk in the road. What else is going on? I have not been ice fishing yet. Ooh, I got to make myself a note. Thank you for that about spear fishing. I really, I'm not much of an ice fisherman. I love walleye fishing, but I'm not much of an ice fisherman. But I'm jonesing so bad to get down on the Saginaw River and take advantage of that fishery that is full of fish right now, mostly small fish. But man, this time of year, you just never know, right? Because pretty soon These big females that are going to run the river to spawn, and not all of them do, some of them spawn out in the big water, but they're going to start working their way upstream. And I wouldn't mind hooking into one of those just to say that I did it and just to get back to that experience again. Sometime soon here in the next week. Hope to get out with my buddy Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand Meats. What else? Wolves. Shall we talk about wolves? Are you sick of hearing about wolves? Well, I am. I am sick of hearing about wolves, but we've got to talk about them. Here are 3 names that I want you to remember and keep in mind. Defenders of Wildlife, Wild Earth Guardians, and the Natural Resources Defense Council. Those are the groups that brought the lawsuit in the California federal court that now basically put wolves back on the endangered species list and have taken away any chance of having a wolf hunt here in Michigan and many other states anytime in the near future. Watch out for groups like this. They are very, in my opinion, very, very dangerous. Groups like this are anti-hunting, anti-trapping, anti-wildlife management. They're not in support of our way of life. Here's another name, and I don't want to get too political, but I need to say this. And if I cross the line, I'm sure you'll tell me about it. My email address is mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. I welcome your comments. But here's another name that I think you should keep in mind. State Attorney General Dana Nessel. Can I read a tweet that Attorney General Dana Nessel put out? Michigan is proud to be home to approximately 700 gray wolves. These magnificent animals serve important roles in our Great Lakes ecosystems, and they show us that dedication to family is not unique to humans. Think about that for a minute. I refused to stand idly by when the federal government tried to use the Great Lakes Wolf Recovery success story to remove needed Endangered Species Act protections for gray wolves in other states. The court rightfully ruled in favor of nationwide wolf recovery, and I applaud this development. Here's the statement that gets me. And they show us that dedication to family is not unique to humans. I believe our Attorney General watched too many Walt Disney movies when she was growing up. She has done something that a lot of well-meaning but ignorant people do. The term is anthropomorphize. Anthropomorphize is when you put human characteristics on wild animals. And that's what our state attorney general did right there. Now, I am not one of those people who say, let's wipe out the wolf population. I love the fact that we have wolves in Michigan. We just obviously have too many, and they need to be, I think this is very clear. They need to be controlled in certain parts of the UP. And the best way to do that is with a hunt. Let dog hunters in there, let trappers in there, and just knock down the population a little bit and put fear of man into these wolves. But when we've got groups like Defenders of Wildlife, Wild Earth Guardians, Natural Resources Defense Council, a judge in California, a federal judge in California, and our own attorney general fighting against this, I just don't know why our state attorney general, when she's got so many other things to worry about, is on the bandwagon of protecting wolves. Just remember that. Just remember that. And again, if I have gone too far and I've gone out of my lane, I will accept that. Send me an email to mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. Let me know what you think. I just needed to get that off my chest. You know, you might remember a certain picture of our state attorney general at a certain football game. Maybe she made the tweet when she was at the football game. I'll give her that. Let's see. On a positive note, because there are so many positive things to talk about, I don't want to dwell on this negative wolf situation. I really don't, but it's something that does need to be discussed. On a positive note, and in fact, Jim Felgenauer, a buddy of mine who has been on the show here before, as I was doing my behind the mic segment here before the show, he said, "Hey, what about some positive things like eagles?" Oh my goodness, this is the eagle, if I remember right, the eagle breeding season. So you're going to see a lot of eagles right now. And isn't it wonderful how the eagle population in Michigan has rebounded? Well, I think my early 30s before I ever saw my first eagle here in Michigan. They just weren't around. You will remember that DDT and other pesticides, when they were in the food chain, caused eagles to have eggs that were so brittle when the birds would sit on them, they would crack. Or the birds that did make it, they had crossed bills, so they couldn't feed and they didn't grow into adulthood. So we didn't have many eagles here in Michigan. And to see an eagle was a rare and wonderful and beautiful sight. And it still is for me today. Every eagle I see today gives me goosebumps and makes me proud to see that bird. But I can drive along one of my rivers here on the way home from the studio back to my house, and I can just about guarantee I'll see multiple birds, and I will see multiple nests. I think it's one of the greatest conservation success stories in recent history. Wonderful. Walleye. We're talking about, walleye fishing. I want to get down in the river and catch some walleye. Walleye, the same thing. In many areas, many bodies of water. How about Lake Erie, Saginaw Bay, Saginaw River, the Maumee River? Bodies of water that were so polluted they would even catch on fire years ago are now home to world-class walleye fisheries. How cool is that? Outdoorama coming up next weekend. Are you going to make it down? I'm hoping I will make it down there. Let's see. Our Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction. Tickets are sold out. However, our online version of this outdoor celebration and fundraiser is up and running. If you go to one.bidpal.net, one.bidpal.net, I have that website and I have a QR code you can scan with your phone on my Facebook page, Mike Avery Outdoors Facebook page. But some of the online auctions you can bid on: an upland bird hunt, wreck broadheads, a charter captain's class, Detroit River walleye fishing, a whitetail shoulder mount, a VersaSkins jacket, hunting jacket, and much, much more. One.bidpal.net, one.bidpal.net, or look for the QR code. That'll make it even easier. Coming up on this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show after the break, I want to talk more about this process of becoming a charter captain with Captain John Littlefield of Great Lakes Charter Training, glctraining.com. It's John and Captain Mel Stackpool who are donating a class. Then Ed Golder of the DNR checks in with an update on this whole wolf situation. What does it mean now? In hour number 2, one of the best extreme long-range shooters in the world, undisputed, Paul Phillips, will join me. Karen Cleveland from the DNR. This week's Ask Avery segment deals with stunted pike populations on some inland Michigan lakes. And in hour number 3, Lance Valentine of Teachin' Fishin', and we'll wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dave Miner. That's all coming up in this week's Outdoor Magazine show. One more time, if you want to reach out to me, complain, that's fine. Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com. That's Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com. My website is MikeAveryOutdoors.com. I'm MikeAveryOutdoors.com on Mike Avery Outdoors on what? YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. More coming up after the break right here on Outdoor Magazine. John, you are absolutely correct. Turkey's another great comeback story. We've got a lot of them. A lot of them. Turkeys, walleye, eagles. All right. So I will be very interested to see what kind of response, reaction, criticism I get for my comments about Dana Nessel. And I may have gone overboard. It may be out of the range of this show. And I get that. And I'm prepared to take those comments, but it'll be interesting to see. All right, my friends, have a good day. And hopefully I'll see you tonight, 7 o'clock, for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. In the meantime, have a great day.